All right, Mr. Henry. We can go ahead and get started. How are you today?
Fine, a lot better than I was last time I was here. I also wanted to apologize for canceling.
I heard that there was an emergency. You had something came up.
Um, well, not with me, but when I canceled Tuesday, that was transportation issues.
Right.
It didn't have anything to do with that, but there was something else going on at the time. My father was getting some. He had a sort of medical emergency. It didn't turn out to be anything, but he spent the night at the hospital. So.
Oh my gosh, is he okay?
Yeah, he's all right.
Okay, so did that put the family under a lot of stress?
A little bit, but I mean it's fine. It didn't have anything to do with my canceling.
Okay. Okay, very good. All right, so then, because you came in here because of the way you've been feeling lately, you said depressed? You know, there was some of the things that came up. So what I wanted to do today, and I do it with some of my clients, especially when they tell me, you know, some of the symptoms what they're feeling. This is it's a questionnaire. It's an inventory. I wanted to check for anxiety and for depression because usually, you know, sometimes they go hand in hand. I just want to see where you're at. If you have it, then we can address it, and if you don't, well, great. You know, okay. And if you have it, well, how severe is it? You know, and things and strategies you can do to cope with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this one has the anxiety has 17 questions. Okay. And then the depression, which is right here on the back, that one has 33. Okay, so it goes like this, and I think I sampled it backwards. Okay, so this two go together, and then this one goes separate. So just the front. So the way you're gonna answer this, the question goes right here. Like the first one says anxiety, nervousness, worry, fear. In the last year or so, you know, how much do you feel? And then 0, so you only would put only one check mark per column. So it's either 0, a 1 for someone, a 2 for moderately, and then a 3 for like a lot. You experience this quite often. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and give you this so you can fill it out. I'm going to do it like this so you know when you're done with one and then flip up the other form. Is that okay? It's just that the last time I saw you, it was our initial, and so it was hard for me to do everything as in paperwork.
Yeah.
Can you talk over it? Oh, the back is in Spanish, so it'll be like that 15, and then see how it goes into. Let me see. How did it say?
Oh, this one is okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. This goes with that, and that's it. When you're done with that, you're done with that one. There you go. Yes, you're right.
What's this one?
Sweating. It's a
Oh,
typo.
okay.
Sweating. Good. Very good. Thank you. Let me tell you that for you. Real quick. All right. So how are you? You said you're taking medication for anxiety, right?
Yes.
How is that going? Are you still taking it?
No, I'm not. But I have been doing the. You showed me last time these. I guess these exercises or something.
Yes.
And then you recommended.
Walking.
Yeah, walking. So I've been doing that.
And how?
I forget about the medic. I forget I even have the medications. That's why I guess I haven't been taking it. I often forget I even have it. But I have been doing the exercises and the walking.
And how is that helping you?
Um, I feel better than I did when I first came. I mean, I still.
Right, of course. You know, it's a symptom. So better than when you first started. Wonderful. That's good. That's something to celebrate. I'm gonna tell you the scores. That's what I was asking you. Like, are you still taking the medicine? All right. So for your anxiety, according to the inventory here, you are at extreme anxiety. Okay, and you recognize it because you talked about it and then so how long have you been on that medication?
I think I was prescribed. I was given the prescription. I think it was November or December of last year.
Uh-huh.
So that's how long I've had it. Medication.
And when you take it, do you feel it too? How does that make you feel? Well,
it has this strange, like, after a while, it has a strange effect, like calming, but like too calm, like I can't breathe. So.
And so I was gonna ask you, have you ever had a panic attack?
Yes. Not.
When was the last time you had one?
I don't have them as often as I used to. I don't remember the last time.
And when you had them, so how long? Would you say a year ago, 6 months ago?
Not that long ago. Probably maybe just weeks. Maybe
a couple of weeks ago, you had a panic attack. But so you can tell the difference when it's this anxiety versus and a panic attack is coming. You can tell the difference.
In fact, probably last night I may have had a mild one.
So did something trigger that? Was there something going on that kind of put you in that situation?
Not really. I have this issue with, like, sometimes I feel short of breath, and maybe just like bad diet or dehydration or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that can trigger.
Right. So like if you're like if you almost don't control it, then it comes stronger, right? So then what do you do so you don't get it? Like how do you control that? How do you make it stop?
I just try to, like, focus on something, like my breathing, just like focus on it. Because I know it's, like, not doing that can make it spiral or whatever. So I guess I've just gotten to the habit of just focusing.
Very good. You're like ahead of the game, because people come and they're like, what do I do with blah blah blah. So that's exactly, you're doing exactly what that if that helps you, then you continue, this focusing, and then where you're like calm down and then relax and then catch your breath, and and then that brings you into where you have it under control. You're controlling it yourself. So continue to do that. It sounds like you do control it yourself before you really get that attack. So in the past when you had one, like what did it make you do, or what did you end up doing? How bad was it?
I know that after I was prescribed the Prozac, I
So you think it was cost
I don't
because of
know.
the medicine?
I'm not sure.
Maybe that's something we need to look into. You know, what are the side effects? You know what I mean? Okay, so what were you prescribed the Prozac for? What was that one for?
Depression.
How long have you been suffering from depression?
Long time. Probably the last 12, 13 years, maybe longer.
Okay. All right. So now with the depression, now are you still currently taking Prozac, your medicine for that?
No, I stopped taking that.
When did you stop taking that one?
This past January.
Okay. Okay. And with that one, according to the you know how you answered, it also puts you at severe depression, and obviously you know that already. Okay, so we can discuss goals for you, but that's something that you have to, you know, be in agreement. Like, so I'm gonna ask you, you know, now that we know, I have an idea of how much is your depression. I have an idea how much is your anxiety. We already did some activities for that one, so that's great. And it seems like some of the stuff it's working. You continue with that, okay? For the depression, you know, that's something we can, you know, what's the reason why you stopped the medication? I'm just wondering.
Oh, well, like I said, I think it was about 3 weeks into taking medication, I started having these really intense panic attacks. And at first it wasn't until maybe a few days,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of days or a few days later that I started to think, well, maybe it's the medication that's
Okay.
causing it.
So when you were taking the medication, it they were coming on often. Is that what you're saying?
Um,
Or was that the first time that you experienced them, the anxiety, the panic attack? Sorry.
Not the first time, but there was something different about them. It was something more intense.
Okay. So then you stopped in January. You just without this is without your doctor's authorization, right? So you stopped. So that when you compare, you know how they come, they were more intense. Would you say is that less? Not now that you stopped back in January.
Yeah, I stopped it. I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was causing it, but it did stop.
So you did notice that it was affecting you with that.
Yes, I think so. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I've just sort of returned to where I was before.
Now, were you going through some stuff, you know, during that time that you needed that back in January?
I know. I don't know if I mentioned what happened that made me initially go to the center.
You're with your dad. It had something to do with your dad.
Yeah. So I don't know if that contributed to it, but you know when I went off of it,
Mm-hmm.
gradually it took a while. Gradually, those intense panic attacks subsided. So, I don't know. Maybe if I had stuck with it, they would have gone away on their own anyway. But
Yeah, because sometimes with the medication, sometimes medication it takes a while for your body to, you know, process them. Um, but but then you had suicidal thoughts, right? And was that after you left the medication? When did those?
I've had suicidal thoughts sort of off and on for the last 4 years, even more, maybe 5 years.
But your last one would have been like a month ago, a month or two ago. Okay. So then, have you had any since then?
No, not really. No.
Very good. So would you say that whenever when something major is going on in your life, that pops up in your in your head maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so could you be like, okay, like maybe the way you cope with things,
Yeah.
right? Okay, very good. So what is your relationship at the moment with your dad right now?
Actually, it's a little better because I think what happened, he's been getting some medical.
Because you said that your father suffers from anger issues, right? Like he doesn't know. So would you say he doesn't know how to communicate?
Yeah. He doesn't. Well, yeah.
And I can see you're very, and we talked about that. Like I can see that you're good nature. You're more calm. So then, um, it's very obvious with somebody when they don't know how to communicate, and you're like, let's just sit down and talk. But in his case, what does he do to you?
Um. A lot of shouting, I guess.
So when he shouts and he's like, does he belittle you as well, or is this just like that, whatever's going on at the moment?
Yeah, whatever's going on.
Do you shut down at the moment, or do you like answer him back? What do you do?
Sometimes I'd shut down. I'm at the point now where I just sort of, I don't know. I don't have like the, I don't know, patience. I guess I just sort of would rather just
You walk away. Okay. And when you walk away, does he get mad or does he stop? Because he has nobody to fight now.
Yeah, yeah. But like recently he's been getting some, because he's about to have, I think, surgery for his eyes. His eyesight's not very good,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think the fear of, because he's not he's it's been a while since he's been to the doctor or anything like that. So I think the fear of the anxiety of that is sort of mellowed him out a little bit. So um, which is good in its own way. So that's taken. I don't know. It's strange.
So it's changed. So
Yeah.
it's changed the way he relates with you, or because he's dealing with his own, right? And you're right. He's probably afraid, like, whoa, what's gonna happen? Could he lose his eyesight, or is that the reason why he's gonna get the surgery so he can get better sight?
He could lose it if he doesn't have the surgery, and the surgery, I think, is just going to be for one eye.
Okay, and then they're gonna do, but is it both eyes? And they're only
It's
gonna
both
do.
eyes, but one eye is the one they're going to focus on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's afraid. Have you had a chance to sit and talk to him?
because like I think it's caused him to realize in a lot of ways the way he's been.
Yes.
I guess things like this can make you reflect.
Yes, and sometimes, sometimes it does. So he's coming around.
A little bit, yeah.
Are you able, do you feel comfortable? Were you able to open up to him as well?
Yeah, I mean, because he's asking me questions, things that he's never asked before.
Like, can you give me an example?
My life.
Really?
Interesting. Like I said, and I know that feeling, because I feel like this all the time, with my depression.
And so what did he ask you?
Just a lot of questions, like things going back years. What my high school life was like.
Oh, wow.
And
so this is a conversation that never happened back then, but it's happening now. Was that strange for you?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lot of things that I didn't know where to start. It's just.
And would you say this is the kind of relationship you've been looking forward to, like maybe all your life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where. Like at this point, I'm not even sure what to do because I'm just.
What to do with what?
Well, I wasn't sure, like, where to begin. Like,
how to take all that.
Yeah.
All right, so then there is a one of the therapies that I use, and I'll share with you. And I think we discussed it the last time where you can change. Remember, so we can't change your father. Your father is who he is, right? But you have the power to change yourself, and you are at the right place. You came here because you're like, I have a problem and I want to know how can I I feel better, I have depression, I don't want it. How can I even manage that? That's why you're here. So you took control of your life, right? You cannot change the past is the past, but we can learn from the past. We're here. We celebrate that. Where are you? We're here. How are you feeling? What did you say? I'm feeling better than I felt before. And every day is a new day, a new opportunity. You grab it and you go. Where are you heading from here? And you don't have a choice. We're going to the future, right? So you plan for the future, right? Hoping for the best. So then if your father is here now, because we don't know the future with him, right? We don't know. Hopefully everything goes well with the surgery, right? And celebrate that right now with him. So think of him as a friend that went away and he's back and he's trying to catch up in all of those memories. Everything that happened to you, hey, I want to know now. Share with him. And don't hold grudges, kind of like that. Like, well, where were you? Because if you get into that attitude, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, okay, well, he wasn't ready. Did he work all his life where he wasn't part of your life?
No, not really.
So it was just a choice?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really think about that.
Right, and it's okay. That's okay. He's here now. He's interested in what's going on with you. Share with him. Because it almost seemed, according to what you're saying, I noticed even your mood is like.
Yeah. I'm just. Like I said, I'm not sure like where, but I mean, he still has that habit. I think a lot of bad habits. I think of short temper, because that's still there. It's
right.
makes it difficult to respond. To
Right, and
combat
the
that.
thing is also, so he's been suffering with his own health for years. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So what his eyesight is this due to something else, or is it just like a cataract
It's well, yeah, cataracts.
because of age, right? Okay, so the thing is, he's going through his own stuff too, because put yourself in his place, you know, could I lose my eyesight? What am I gonna do? Who am I gonna depend on? Do I even have a relationship with my only son? What's
Well,
gonna happen to me?
Well, he has another son too, so that's not. I'm not gonna go. But the other one is not around, so I guess.
Is that
at least
another of your brother?
Yeah.
With your brother? Because on the first one you said it was your sister and you. So there is a brother.
Yeah, but my sister and me are there, but there's a brother, but he's not.
Okay, so he's like an older brother. Okay, so it's two brothers and your sister. Okay, very good. What about your mom? How is she dealing with all that?
Okay, she has her own health. She's dealing with it.
Okay. Sometimes things. Some people would say it's a crisis, and sometimes crisis at the moment it's horrible. Because like it disrupts your normal life, your normal living. But sometimes that kind of stuff brings the family together. Is your sister is your sister also? How's she dealing with all that?
Fine. She's sort of in her own world, I guess, dealing with her own things.
Right.
So.
Very good. So I want to come back to one more thing because you're saying I don't know how to deal with that, with all that. We're gonna call it mindful. Being mindful. Being mindful is here at the moment, being aware, and I think I share that when you're doing your walking, I want you to be mindful. I'm here. I'm celebrating me. I'm walking. What am I doing? Oh, there's a tree. So acknowledge everything that is around you. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the now. And then and then move forward. And then so as you're doing that, so you're changing your thought process because we want it to be a positive. Because depression, you start looking at things in a negative way. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, that's probably the hardest thing.
What is
Like
hardest?
when walking, trying to think about that, because I do find my mind
Starts wandering off.
Yeah.
Okay, and actually, I don't even want you thinking. Did you say I didn't say thinking? No. Okay, so when you're walking, I want you to acknowledge, look around, but I don't want you thinking at all, because that's the whole point. Anxiety, that's all you're doing. You're thinking and thinking. So I'm going to give you an example of what it's like in the brain. Have you ever seen a truck that is stuck in mud and you see the tire? What happens to the tire in the mud? It's just spinning, right? So it's not going anywhere. That's what's happening with our mind, with anxiety. It's just thoughts, all these thoughts going nowhere. You're gonna get your mind tired. Give your mind a break. So how do you do that? Not thinking. I want you to be mindful, like you're looking around, but I don't want you thinking. Now, if you run that way, we start worrying because that's what it is, right? Are you able to get some headphones? You have a phone, something portable where you can listen to music.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any those earphones, so.
Okay, well, I see them at a Walmart and they're like from then between $3 to $5. If you can spare, if you can spare some, get some. I would highly recommend them. So go get some music that is gonna not make you think. It's gonna be either uh, music that is gonna be, what is that word that I'm looking for? Uplift you. Okay, uplifting music, music that is gonna make you when you're walking. It's like, oh, it's music that you enjoy. So look for that kind of music. YouTube has wonderful videos, inspirational, uh, how to deal with things. You can just be listening. So you can be listening to talks, music. I always want it to be inspirational. So it's where you're gonna feel better, not worse. If that makes any sense. So that's gonna help you where you're not thinking. It's someone is because you're doing something else. Your body's not gonna have time to think. So while you're walking, you're listening to music. Let's work on that and let's see how does that feel. The next time I see you, did that help a little bit with all this thinking, that all the stuff that's going on in your head, and then cognitive therapy. It's what it is. It's you changing the way you think. The way you think then changes your behavior. For many years, you train your mind to think a certain way. So it's going to take you some time to change that, but it is possible. Like I said, you are in control, and so that you're going to be able to do that for yourself. Okay, so then if we can discuss a little bit about what plans you have. Like, where do you see yourself? Like, if there's a goal, what would that be? One thing you would like to reach.
I was thinking about this recently. It's hard to say. I know that one of the biggest problems I have is a lack of a sense of a lack of purpose or meaning in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've felt this desire to help people.
Okay.
I want to, like I was thinking, I was just this morning
Mm-hmm.
looking at this volunteer page.
Nice.
So
In what area?
this particular one was for I forget exactly what they were called, but they involved I think they were called pregnancy centers.
Okay.
And then there was another one, I forget what the other ones were.
What will you be doing there?
I'm not sure. I need to look more into it.
John Henry John, I think that's wonderful. That right there, sometimes when you forget about yourself and you put yourself into others, and you end up finding something meaningful. You see what I'm saying? Because you're so focused on, and then you forget about, hey, wait a minute, I had a headache, or I was feeling like this, I was feeling like that. It's a routine. Like I said, you're so set up in this thoughts and this behavior, and when you start changing things up, then of course there's going to be a change, within you. I totally agree with you. You should look into it. And not only that, how you say you're shy and you don't socialize that much. That's gonna help you to be out there talking to people. Something that I would like you to try if it's okay with you. Uh, Simple, very simple, and this is just so it can help you with this. Practice how to start conversation or just talking to people. Period. Oh, excuse me. Do you have the time? That's it. Just start practicing with that. Random people, it doesn't matter who they are, and wherever they are. Excuse me, do you have the time? Most of us carry a watch, and anybody would be happy to tell you the time. And so that makes you practice, like, oh, I can talk, I can do, I can socialize with other people, and it's in a safe environment. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I practice that. It's always that's one of the things that's been hard for me my whole life. I don't know why. I mean, I did. I think try and practice something like that.
Yeah, it's safe, it's simple, and all they're gonna tell you it's whatever time. Now, if it's a pretty girl, you said, "Oh, nice weather we're having, right?" And then she'll be like, "Oh, yes." And so that's the way you see what I'm saying. You start conversation, and then you start looking for things that are in common, and just kind of like conversation is just back and forth, back and forth. That's another way. Now, something we can look into if you're interested, because I know you have some college, so you're not done with it. You didn't finish it.
No.
Is it something you would like to finish in the future, or not at all?
I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought in a while.
Okay, because there's also, like, on the computer, there's websites that have careers, whether it's for school or short, like one of those technical schools, and it shows you, depending on how you answer, it guides you to careers that would be appropriate for you. Something that, according to how you're answering, it's more geared towards something you might maybe haven't considered, and there's options there for you. Would that something you'd be interested in doing?
Yes.
Because it's you just go through you check, would you rather work indoors versus outdoors? Do you like office? Do you like lifting? You like, so there's different questions that they're gonna ask you, and it guides you, and it'll say these are the professions, and they'll give you a list that you would be that would be beneficial for you according to how you answer. So we could look at that too, and like that you have an idea. Even for the volunteer, maybe this would be uh, places that you might want to look into. But if you're saying caring, I'm thinking, oh, nurse, doctor, known for caring. So there's different areas that you can, and you're right. On the internet, there's a lot of places that are always looking for volunteers. So I'm glad you're doing that. Very good. So then I'm gonna ask you another question. So what do you do for fun to take care of yourself?
I think I mentioned last time. I just read, although it's difficult to read
Mhm.
lately. Well, not lately, but given my anxiety and depression, it's difficult to read because it affects my concentration.
Okay.
I think there was a question like that on there.
Okay.
Walks. I think there's a park near where I am, and I go down there sometimes. Just walk around.
And you know what? Does that make you feel good? Like I said, you enjoy being out in nature.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
Are
for
you
a
able?
while
Are
anyway.
you able to write? Do you like to write? Would that be something you? I
It
know.
used,
Although you said it affects mine, said it
yeah,
affects it.
yeah,
Not too much.
yeah. I don't really write much anymore.
You used to write before. Can you try something? Would you be willing to try something? Just try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Would you be willing to get a journal, like a paper, and like at the end of you find the time, whether it's in the morning, whenever you feel that, whenever you feel more at like I'm at a right now, I feel good, even if it's 5-10 minutes, whatever that is, whether it's in the morning, in the evening, you'll know when that time is. And I want you to start like a. Would you be willing to write maybe like just what am I grateful for? Whether it's something little or something big, whatever that is, and then start writing it down. Because you know why I'm asking you that, because I'm moving you from here to here, shifting this, whatever that, if it's negative, to a positive. Would that be something you might be willing to try? Okay, but I need you to continue with the walking, and we're gonna add to the walking. You're gonna add where you're gonna add the five senses. Okay, and you change them up however you want. 5 things that you see, 4 things that you smell. Okay, 3 things that you can touch. And with the tasting, it's gonna be a little bit hard, out in nature. But it's like, oh, it's raining, or you just can't do that one. And so just use your 5 senses, and you can change them up. It doesn't have to be in this order, but your 5 senses, because I'm making you're beginning to be more aware, grounding yourself of where you're at, and then it's one step, one day at a time. By the time you know it, you're like, wow, look at how much, look at how much I travel, look at the things that I've done for myself. Is that something you think you can try out this week? Very good. Well, believe it or not, our session is just about over, but I don't want you to just walk away like that. Can you share with me something you've done? So it could be a funny story, or it could be just something you've done lately for yourself or with your family.
A funny story.
Or just something that you want to share with me.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I've sort of been isolated the last maybe week or so. All this going on,
Uh-huh.
so I've sort of been left to myself. Although that's actually not that different from most of the time anyway. But I don't know.
I think you did already share it with me. You sitting down talking to your dad.
Yeah.
Where did that happen?
It happened. Let me see. I think it was Monday. Monday. Well, yeah, Monday. Monday morning. I think. Um, early Monday morning.
What was different from that day? Where were you? Did you make yourself self available, or you always been there that he happened to be talking to you?
Yeah, I've always been there. So
So you happened to be at the right time, at the right moment. Like where was he? Who started the conversation? Did
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be more opportunities of that kind. But you're doing the right thing, walking away. You know, diffusing that argument, and
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of it's just I don't have the energy for it. I don't, anymore. I don't. It's not. I wish I could say it was because it's like some high-minded reason, but I don't know. I'm tired of feeling that way, getting worked up. So, it's more like,
it's not worth it.
yeah, I don't, but
But it also, you know what it is that you're more mature now. You probably have
maybe,
more
I don't know.
more patience than before. Like it's not worth it. Some stuff is not even worth it. Well, whatever you're doing, with believe it or not, the walking away is one of the strategies we use for anger management. Even though you're not the one, but that's still diffusing the environment. I'm never gonna say walk away, don't come back to address the issue. If it's an issue that needs to be addressed, yeah, you can sit down and talk about it. But anyway, so you that's good. That was a good experience, and hopefully there'll be more that he's able to. Maybe even maybe you need to ask him. Ask him. Think about some questions that you might want to ask him. Because he's probably feeling his own anxiety with the operation that is coming up, right? Alrighty, well, thank you so much for coming in, and I'm gonna go ahead and see what we have available for. Would you like to come back next time?
Yes.
Okay.